literally, what do I do?
What led to 2 evacuations in Corridor community.
Plus the state of Lynn County.
The quality of life.
What county leaders are faced with moving forward. Those are our top stories covering the corridor tonight. But first, here's your CBS 2 Weather First forecast.
On this Thursday evening, in comes the sunshine and out go the clouds. We had a few light showers from earlier today. Now we're getting rid of any traces of that system. Here's a live look in Iowa City where we're back into sunshine and some very comfortable temperatures. 63 degrees. Just a bit of a breeze out of the northwest at 13 miles an hour. Clouds diminishing down to the southeast. Most of the viewing area now seeing that sun. And the temperatures comfortable. 50s up north, 60s down to the south. And really not too much of a cool down through the evening. By midnight, we'll be back down to the mid-40s overnight. Upper 30s, but that's still above average. Hard to believe, but we still haven't even seen the warmest temperatures that we'll experience for this week. When that will arrive, up next in your full forecast.
And now CBS 2 brings you the top stories covering the corridor tonight. Hills Bank branches throughout the corridor were on high alert today after someone made a threatening call to the bank's general 1-800 number.
Some were evacuated, some searched by bomb squads. The branches include the location on Blair's Ferry Road in Cedar Rapids, the bank in Lisbon, and the one in Hills. That's where CBS 2 News reporter Brittany Borghi is live with more information. Brittany?
Yeah, Scott and Tiffany, it was a big surprise for the small town of Hills today to have the bomb squad shut down a portion of Main Street here, and it was an unusual threat for law enforcement to deal with as well. One singular threat called in to the Hills Bank call center ended up impacting a lot of eastern Iowa.
I looked out my window and I could see a lot of lights, so I came outside thinking there was an accident.
But Diana Strand was met by a police officer who told her to stay inside. She watched as the bomb squad and the canine unit searched the bank from her apartment window.
I was worried for the kids at the school. I have 2 grandkids there.
Like I said, as a parent, I was freaking out. Literally, what do I do?
Tristan Stanfield was scared for the safety of her 2 kids at Hills Elementary, just down the street from the bank, and said she found out about the lockdown from Facebook before hearing about it from the school. School officials say they were following protocol. The superintendent showed up to brief staff and took instruction from law enforcement. But the fact that the threat could have been for any branch in any city was a little confusing.
If a person is calling in a threat at a specific bank, that's one thing as opposed to just calling and threatening a bank.
The threat initially went in through the bank's call center and was intercepted by branches in Cedar Rapids, Lisbon, and Hills, all of which temporarily closed. But branches throughout the corridor were on alert all day.
As my understanding, Hills Bank has 17 branches, so trying to pin down, what if we have a legitimate threat at one of the banks, that creates a problem.
Johnson County Sheriff Lonnie Polkrabic says deputies will be working with the IT department from Hills Bank to try to figure out who made this call. Hills Bank says that all of the locations that were closed earlier today have resumed normal business hours. Covering the corridor in Hills, Brittany Borghi, CBS 2 News.
The Cedar Rapids Police Department is hoping to get more information from an anonymous tipster who gave them information on a 35-year-old cold case. Back in December, CRPD received a tip that led investigators to a possible suspect in the December 1979 murder of Michelle Martinko. 17-year-old Martinko was found dead with multiple stab wounds to her head and chest in her family's Buick. Investigators followed up on the lead of a possible suspect, but that person's DNA did not match the DNA that belongs to Martinko's killer. Police would like to see if the tipster has any more credible information about the case. That person is asked to call Lynn County Crime Stoppers and will be allowed to remain anonymous.
The Iowa investigator who lost his position after reporting Governor Terry Branstad's SUV for speeding now has a new job. Larry Hedlund says he's going into the private investigator business. He says he obtained his PI license and plans to investigate everything from unsolved homicides to police misconduct. This comes as Hedlund continues to sue his former superiors for wrongful termination. He alleges his firing was in retaliation for initiating a pursuit of the governor's vehicle after it clocked in at 84 miles an hour last April.
Dry and windy conditions are forcing Johnson County residents to hold off on their open burnings. The state fire marshal put a burn ban for the county into effect this afternoon. Residents are asked to hold off until further notice and to report any burnings they do see A violation of the ban can result in a misdemeanor charge.
Breaking news out of Washington tonight. U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius is resigning after a rough start to the health care rollout. Just today, Sebelius testified in front of a Senate Finance Committee on the president's budget proposal. According to reports, the current director of the Office of Management and Budget, Sylvia Matthews Burwell, will be nominated tomorrow by President Obama to replace Sebelius. We will continue to update this story as more information becomes available. Corridor commuters will be paying more at the pump over the coming weeks. Gas analysts say a rise in prices will likely continue over the next several weeks. They attribute the potential increase to slower gasoline production and stations being required to sell cleaner and more expensive fuels. But it's not all bad news. The analysts do also predict that prices will go down for June. Lynn County leaders gathered today for the 8th annual State of the County address.
The luncheon was a chance to look at the county's accomplishments and future initiatives. CBS 2 News reporter Mugo Odigwe was at the meeting and is here now with more. Mugo?
Tiffany, Lynn County has seen many accomplishments over the past year, but today's luncheon was also about looking to the future and ways to improve county programs, one of them being Options of Lynn County. The organization helps residents who have disabilities find employment, but funding has been an issue. Lynn County leaders formed a task force last November to look into ways to keep it going.
It's critical. First of all, it's a quality of life, that these are individuals that want to work, who many of whom have the ability to work. They just need a little extra help.
For now, Options of Lynn County will operate with its current contract until June 30th, 2015. Mugo Odigwe, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Mugo. One of Cedar Rapids' last flood recovery projects is now underway. Construction of the new Ushers Ferry Lodge began today. The more than 7,200 square foot facility will serve recreation and programming purposes for the Ushers Ferry Village. Project leaders say today has been a long time coming.
So what's cool about it is it's one of the most modern facilities in our Parks and Recreation system. It's ADA accessible. It's going to have a beautiful catering kitchen. It's going to have nice indoor bathrooms we can use for four-season things. It's going to have a beautiful outside patio and views of the entire park and the river area.
The new lodge will also feature a reception hall. A completion deadline for the project is set for the end of August, with an opening event planned for September.
Veterans looking for careers outside of the military are getting some local help. They can now sign up for next Tuesday's Career Summit. A Career Summit will be held Tuesday at Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The goal is to help veterans as they try to get back into the civilian workforce. It's also meant to help veterans understand the differences between the military and civilian jobs, something recruiters say isn't always as easy as it sounds.
A lot of challenges we face sometimes is just being able to equate what we do every day in the military to what employers can use in the civilian world. A lot of times there's a lot of leadership things and managerial things that we do just on a normal everyday basis that's a pretty significant stepping stone in a civilian workforce.
If you'd like to attend the event next week, we have a link to the registration page under the Newslink section of our website, cbs2iowa.com.
A group of students in the corridor is getting a brand new opportunity to focus on their future.
The historically Black College and University Tour, or HBCU, just returned